Hello, my name is Dante Renee, and welcome to the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Like tonight's film, 1981's Dallas Schoolgirls. This is from 1981, and it is, as it says in the front, starring Tiffany Clark. This is the back of the DVD here, and this DVD company is Video X Pix. Video X Pix. You can see it at the top here. Video X Pix presents. This is an extremely rare DVD, extremely rare film. I found one copy online through diabolicdvd.com, and then after I purchased it, it looked like it was now gone, not even on back order. This is from 1981, Dallas Schoolgirls. This is quite an interesting, wild, sexy, X-rated film that follows quite a bit of an anthology format. So we're going to get into this film right here. Dallas Schoolgirls, very, very rare film, and I believe it needs to be talked about more. This is the actual official poster art for the film. These two actresses are, or these two women on the front are not in the film. It's one of those types of covers, but it's a great cover nonetheless. Let's get into this film, 1981's Dallas Schoolgirls. I have some notes below me here, around me here, so if you see my eyes divert, you'll know what I'm doing. Essentially, what we have here is a group of cousins. Three cousins travel to reunite for a slumber party now that they have experienced life. They had previous slumber parties back in the day when they were younger and inexperienced sexually, and now they are coming together to share not just their desires for what they would want, but now to share their adventures of what they have had. They play a game, and it involves telling sexual adventures they've had, and it follows an anthology format. It gives a sexual anthology format to Dallas Schoolgirls, and a slumber party with a peeping Tom wraparound story as well. We also have a bit of strip poker or it's like a strip poker type format also involved in this game as the wraparound story and the peeping Tom within the wraparound story as well. As I've stated before in my other video reviews on this YouTube page, there really seem to be two genres that really milk the anthology format, and that would be horror and then, of course, sexploitation. I've reviewed other movies on this YouTube page, like still going through the Schoolgirl Report series, and also the Erwin C. Dietrich version of the Schoolgirl Report series, and even Jess Franco's Virgin Report, which have been reviewed on this YouTube page, which follow anthology formats. We even have, in this film, the cast. We have a bit of the Velvet High cast. The Velvet High film is a film that I also reviewed previously on this YouTube page. You will see some of them in this film as well. I love the house. I love the room in the house with the carpet and the fireplace behind them. Love that freaking atmosphere. This is very early 80s, same year William Lustig's Maniac came out. So this is Dallas Schoolgirls. Let's get into this film. We're going to start off with a style here for the film. Style, cinematography, the whole way it feels and moves. Wild swipes and in the credits, Wild Swipes kind of in the credit sequence, and the credit sequence is really cool. The opening title credit sequence that involves actual pics of the actresses in the film. Kind of showcasing them and introducing them to you with pictures. It's really, really well done and very interesting at that. And it was something that really kind of starts you off in the movie. This is like a wild teen sex comedy gone X-rated, doing things further that you could only do with an X rating. Dallas Schoolgirls starts off with this very creative title sequence that really kind of brings you in. Well, what is the benefit of an X rating? What is the benefit? The benefit is that, of course, if you want more explicit, hardcore sexual scenes, of course. But in terms of creativity and boundaries and storytelling, you are able, with an X-rated film, to go the extra mile and incorporate story elements directly instead of indirectly, and explicitly instead of indirectly. and you are able to do more things with the story, more outrageous things, more shocking things, and Dallas Schoolgirls is an example of that. We have adventures in this movie involving a minister's son, involving a prom dance hall with balloon dropping, a sex ed teacher, and sex loops like old Blue movies, although I believe that they were new, or there was old and new in the loops. This was the longest of the stories and the weirdest, definitely with the length. It was really bizarre. We have a story involving joggers. We have a wedding and what takes place during the reception in the bathroom. We have the Ravon lady instead of the Avon lady. Wild, wild section. And that had the craziest porn acting I've seen and the craziest dialogue acting from the actress Samantha Fox. No, not the 80s singer, the X-rated actress. A wild restaurant kitchen scene involving a salad. And we start off in this film in real time with the travels of one of the three cousins on her way to meet her other two cousins. So we start off the film in real time, and then all of a sudden we start to flashback and we start to go into an anthology format, and the wraparound story is the game. The wraparound story is the slumber party. When we look at the music for this film, it is quite outrageous because we are dealing with a good amount of copyrighted music, seemingly expensive music. And I got to tell you, it just shocked me. It took me off guard. I could not believe what I was listening to. What's going on here? Could it be that they didn't get the rights to this and they just passed by it, and the movie was so unknown that they could just get away with it? I mean, how does Video X Pix, how do they distribute this film? Sometimes in my travels with X-rated cinema, adult cinema, I have seen copyrighted type stuff more lackadaisical, and more lax, and it's something that I'm intrigued by and trying to figure out how that works. But we have copyrighted music in here. We have slow pop songs that are very popular from the era, classical music pieces like Maurice Ravel's Bolero, in an alternate version during a female-on-female de-virgination with a huge dildo. Now, if you're familiar with Maurice Ravel's Bolero, it's one of my favorite classical pieces of music that I first heard, I believe it was about junior high in my music class, and fell in love with it ever since. It's a pretty long song that develops and gets louder and louder and louder and louder and more intense. And if you keep the volume at the same level, it'll actually get louder on its own. It's a pretty wild piece. Maurice Ravel's Bolero. That's in this film as well. And like I said, during a pretty wild sequence that you would never picture Maurice Ravel's Bolero playing towards. We have... But we also have indie, introspective, like synth music in here that could be original, that reminded me of maybe some music that could be playing during a Sofia Coppola film, like Lost in Translation or The Virgin Suicides or something like that, you know. So that was very interesting. And we also have country western music, of course. And I believe some of the country western music is also copyrighted. So that was quite wild as well. Now, with a film called Dallas Schoolgirls, of course you're going to have country music in here, but that's not all. You got all that other stuff as well. And the synth music sections of the film are very, very weird and unique, especially in light of what is going on the screen. As a matter of fact, all of the music in the film, in light of what is going on the screen, is very interestingly crazy. Now, when we look at the sexual activity of this film, we have blowjobs, we have heterosexual, we have masturbation, we have teacher to student, both genders, okay? We have an awesome two girls, one guy section, a great comedic sequences in the kitchen story that is shocking. It's shocking, it could sicken some people, and it's also hilarious, and it could also arouse certain people. There's some dialogue in there that made me laugh out loud in the kitchen sequence. Zany peeper comedy in the wraparound story, lesbian in the wraparound story with 90s and strip poker, as I mentioned before, and you have Dallas Schoolgirls. This is a really wild X-rated piece of cinema here from 1981 that is very unknown, very interesting, very unique. If you like teen sex comedies, if you like that anthology format, and you like just those vibes. You like sexploitation and you want to bring it up to a harder level with some shock, with some comedy, um, outrageousness, almost taking John Waters to an X-rated level. Dallas Schoolgirls really, there is a, like I said before, there's a crazy scene with Samantha Fox playing the Ravon lady instead of the Avon lady, making a house call. And I got to tell you, the dialogue and the acting is outrageously insane, and if you arousing and hilarious all at the same time, and shocking all at the same time. There's some shocking stuff in here that will sucker punch you, and of course, I thought the sequences were very erotic, especially if you like the schoolgirl genre, the cheerleader genre. This is definitely something up your alley. This is 1981's Dallas Schoolgirls right here. Very, very rare film, but it seems to be all over the internet and torrent sites and things like that. This is the DVD right here from Video X Pix. If you can find it and this sounds good to you, definitely get it. Thank you so much for watching the Tevaru Bizarro YouTube page, where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more, like 1981's Dallas Schoolgirls. Thank you so much, and please feel free to check out my own personal films at youtube.com/poopydiarrhea, as well as all my other reviews on this YouTube page: Jess Franco, exploitation, sexploitation, adult, underground, horror, weird, bizarre, anything, even PG-13, unknown comedies. Thank you so much, folks, and have a great night.